Lastborns easily pick up interest in a thing and they don't finish it. They easily get into relationships and they easily break out. They easily pick interest in something today and tomorrow it's off. You can't predict the lastborn. And they love anything noise, fun. A lastborn needs attention. For a typical firstborn, when you make breakfast for them, or you make dinner or supper or lunch, whatever you make, you must include another menu called appreciation and respect.
Yeah, hello, good day, beautiful people. Welcome back again on another episode of the Heart to Heart on the Realities of Life podcast. I remain your host, Val Praise, and today with me to discuss a pertinent issue is a certified relationship and marriage coach, who has track records of resolving marital conflicts and relationship conflicts. Okay, you've been doing this for how many years, sir?
It's more than 15 years.
So he's been doing this for over 15 years, which makes him some sort of authority in this field. And so today we're going to be looking at the novel solution, which sparked my interest on one of his social media posts. I paraphrase. He said something like, a lot of people will not have left their marriages and relationship if only they understood bet order. So today we're going to be looking at bet order. At what point did you come to the realization of such a novel solution?
The first time I heard about bet order was 2016. Though I've been counseling people long before then, but then 2016, I began to do an in-depth study of bet order, and I realized that the bet order effects can be seen in marriages, in parenting, can be seen even in your job. And if you understand the bet order effect on the person you're dealing with, you will know how best to manage that person. Now, when we do not understand the bet order effects, we mismanage relationships, mismanage marriages, and things that ought to work will not work because we feel like this person is bad. He's just acting his bet order. This person is wicked, just acting his bet order. By the time you understand that this is who he is, like I always tell people that temperament, which all of us know, we say we are sanguine, melancholic, phlegmatic, and all of that. Temperament is simply God's own design of creating human varieties. So nobody made up his mind to say, I want to be a sanguine, I want to be a melancholic. No. You were born and you realize you're a melancholic, you're phlegmatic, or you have a mixture of phleg and mel, or sanguine and choleric. Oh, this is who I am. Now, while temperament is God's own design of creating human variety, bet order helps us to understand why we are like that. So that the bet order of even your parents affects your bet order too. So a lot has to be known about bet order. If you understand bet order and its combo, that is the combinations, there are some combos that can actually be crisis prone. And there are some that will be very easy to understand. There are some people that come into relationships with very complex bet order, parameters around them. And when they come in contact, they have conflict here and there. And we know that opposite attracts. So most times when we have people of similar bet order characteristics, there's always trouble.
Okay, sorry to cut you short. I'd like to ask, are there practical situations that has tested the novelty of this your solution?
I have a couple that is their wedding is this weekend. And they're booked for counseling a month ago. Because they're about to get married and they realize they're always arguing, always fighting, always having issues. And they were like, are we going to go on with this? Can this thing work? I don't think we can continue like this. We're always fighting. We cannot stay for 1 week without fighting. They say, okay, let's know if we're going to continue. Let's look for a counselor. And they went online. They Googled marriage counselor in Enugu. And the Google brought my name. And they quickly called me. I'm booked for counseling. Our wedding is next month. We need counseling. I said, okay, I'll put you through 1 month's counseling, two of you. I gave them an appointment and they came to my office. And I asked them, what is the problem? And they began to talk. While they were telling me their prayer, I began to laugh. They said, Pastor, why are you laughing? I said, this is purely bet order. Two of my firstborns. And all the arguments, all the fighting were actually based on their bet order clash. And I said, don't worry. I only have 1 month, 4 weeks, 4 topics to treat with you guys. When I'm done with you, do you know that the last time they came for the counseling When they came, these two people that had been fighting here, they were just playing around, just looking like them play. I asked them what happened. They say, Pastor, I think the first time that I just stayed for 2 weeks without fighting. See, because everything I taught them opened their eyes to see that this woman is a good woman. This man is a good woman. Now, understanding birth order will tell you what not to do, what not to say, how not to behave with this person. You may behave with somebody else like this, and the person will not have any issue. But with this person, you're going to have a fight. That is what birth order does. And I can go on and tell you. I told some people about a couple that came. They actually on for a divorce. They wanted to get a divorce. They were done with the marriage after having 4 children. So one of them that is one of my mentees said, no. Before you break up this marriage, go and have a chat with Pastor Lemi. I'm going to book for counseling session with him. I was too busy. I said, okay, I will give them just 2 days, 2-session counseling. Now they came. The first day they came, the man came with clenched fists, anger and aggression. The woman came with nonchalance. And then when they sat down, I told them, so today, in this counseling, both of you are not going to talk. I will be the one to talk. In the next section, you can now talk. So, okay. I looked at the man, I saw birth order. I looked at the woman, the way she was behaving, the way she was making her, her movement, her finger, her face, all of that. I said, auntie, you must be last born. She looked at me, how do you know? Tell me, are you a last born? He said, yes. I said, okay. Now, I asked the man, I said, Oga, you look like a firstborn. Are you a firstborn? The man said, but I don't know you. This is our first time of meeting you. How did you know about us? I said, tell me, are you a firstborn? He said, yes, I'm a firstborn. I said, okay, now calm down. Let me explain to you how you behave at home, why your wife wants to get a divorce, and why you want to have a divorce. Then I began to talk to the man, how he behaves at home, and why his behavior is actually creating trouble for his last born wife. When I was done with him, I told the woman, you are a last born, right? So yes, I began to tell her how her behavior, which she did not understand, was creating the ripples in her marriage. And then she was blaming it on village people or negative influence. When I was done with that, and I said, now you can go. Come back next week for the final session. I didn't talk with them. When they came the next week for the final session, they came holding hands together. And I asked them, what happened? Then the lady laughed, the guy laughed, say, Pastor, you opened our eyes. I never knew that my wife is as good as this. Say, Pastor, my wife is the best thing that happened to me. I say, you that told me that you're done with this marriage and all of that. So you opened our eyes that this birth order, and I understand why my husband behaves this way and all of that. Most times, if you don't understand that this man is an aggressive firstborn, a typical lastborn will be triggering the man to anger. And when the man responds to the anger, you would not vibrate. Then the last born will easily pack her load. Like this lady, she will easily pack her load. I'm leaving the marriage. She will go. After 1 week, she will come back. And then she will say, I'm not doing again. Let's get a divorce. Then tomorrow she will say, I didn't think it through. I was not serious and all of that. Typical last born. So when I explained this thing together, both of them came. Today, they are both living in UK, happily married and enjoying themselves. Now, many people that were at the verge of getting a divorce, when they meet with Pastor Lemi Jonathan and I begin to talk, they say, where was I going to? I shouldn't be going to anywhere. This is where we are because you now understand better how to manage that person. So a lot.
I'd like to know, what are the characters associated with the different birth orders? You said something about the last one packing her bag to leave the house. Like, would you attribute that to their birth order?
Yes. One, because last born, they do things impulsively.
Okay.
Most times they do before they think. They don't think before they do. Most times they talk before they think. Last born are very, very emotional and they are very, very annoying. Last borns can be very, very troublesome. They like triggering people. If you're not laughing, they will want to make you laugh. If you stay and you've not been angry for a day or two, they want to make you angry and see how you behave. They like trying things a lot. Last born, they take unnecessary risk. Last borns can buy anything that appeals to their fancy, even though they don't need it. A last born can actually, go out there, buy things, spend money without thinking through. You didn't plan to buy this thing, you buy it, you come back home and you're not using it. Last borns easily pick up interest in a thing and they don't finish it. They easily get into relationships and they easily break out. They easily pick interest in something today and tomorrow it's off. They easily cry and the next minute they are sad. So they have mood swing. You can't predict the last born. And they love anything noise, fun. A last born needs attention. If a last born stays with you and you're not looking at her or looking at him or saying something, they will want to make something happen. They could just throw something on the floor just so to make noise. If the house is too calm, they don't like it. They want to make noise. They like to be in a place where people are making noise. But then they are very, very good in manipulating people. That manipulation, to an extent, is positive in that they are good in marketing. A last born can convince you to buy what you don't need. A last born can convince her illiterate uncle to buy an encyclopedia he will not read. A last born can be, they will emotionally blackmail you to say yes, even when you want to say no. So they are good at that. Now, that is why when two last borns get married, there's going to be a serious problem. A last born who is like that needs what we call a stabilizer in the person of a firstborn or a last born, a middle born, who will arrange their lives and tell them, make them slow down and make them not to do or go. A last born may just be upstairs in a 3-story building and feel like, will I break my leg if I jump down? And they will just want to try it. And they feel like somebody can hold them, will catch them up. If you give last born assignment, they are careless most times. They feel like they can make mistakes and there are people to write it off for them. Now, when you come to talk about firstborns are perfectionists. And we have two types of firstborns: aggressive firstborns and compliant firstborn. An aggressive firstborn is pushy, bossy, and authority figure, a mover. They make things happen. A compliant firstborn is a caregiver, a nurturer, very accommodating, but the firstborn. If she's a woman, she's like an assistant mother. If she's a man, you will see her like your next father, because he listens to you, accommodates you. But if that firstborn is an aggressive firstborn, before you thought he will shout at you and say, what are you talking about? How can you do that kind of a thing? They are aggressive. They give you tasks, you must accomplish it. They are bookworms. They set very high standard for themselves and for people around them. And if your boss or your pastor or your leader is an aggressive firstborn, you will be on your toes always. You don't have time to rest. Now, aggressive firstborns, they are pushy, they are bossy, they are authoritative, they are movers actually, and they are very good in managing people. They are very, very good in managing companies. If you give them an assignment, give them task, they will deliver it very well. They are so perfect in that they don't want things to go bad. But there's a difference between being a perfect person and being an excellent person. So some become excellent while some remain as perfectionists. They pick out mistakes from afar. One day, something happened in the church. I was in the church and the media team wrote something on the screen and they wanted to write dominion, but they made a mistake and wrote domion, and it flashed on the screen. I looked at it and I laughed and I said, wow, let me see the bet orders in this hall. I began to look around for bet order characteristics. I saw the firstborn. I saw the complaint. I saw the aggressive. The aggressive quickly. What? No. And I said, aggressive firstborn. I see there. And they were not have to call him. No. Wow. Middle borns were just quietly looking around. Just, well, it's okay. Anyhow, look, why last borns were busy laughing? Say, what's it? No. So you can see that this is how they behave. So the firstborn will spot a mistake from afar and must correct it. They can't let it slip. So now that is why if two of such people get married, there's always a clash. Because you think you're the best and somebody else is making you feel you're not good enough. Because you have done something expecting appreciation. Like I used to tell people that for a typical firstborn, when you make breakfast for them or you make dinner or supper or lunch, whatever you make, you must include another menu called appreciation and respect, because they love it a lot. They like it. And firstborns don't like surprises. Don't surprise them. Don't ask them to guess. They don't have time to be guessing. Just go ahead. They will say, please, I can't guess. But lastborns love surprises. Yeah. They love to guess. But firstborns don't have so much time to be guessing. Go to the point, and all of that. So that is what you see about firstborns. So when we have two of such firstborns in a relationship, they are always going to cross paths. The firstborn wife will probably make the best food and she feels like, man, if my husband eats this one, he's going to be so happy. Now, the husband, who is also a firstborn perfectionist, comes back home As he tastes the food, he would not, before he will even appreciate the wife, he will now complain on what is not good, maybe excess salt, excess Maggi. They must find fault. Then the other person will get angry and all of that. Now, you see, if you want a firstborn to be happy, don't cross their perfectionist nature. Don't argue with them. Even if you have a point, don't make them feel like their own point's not correct. So when we try to, that is why I have seen couples who are both firstborns, and you ask me, how come these firstborns did not fight, did not quarrel, we didn't hear them and all of that? Hmm. Take, for instance, a very popular couple, Bill Clinton and his wife, Hillary Clinton. One of the things that worked for them is they were on parallel lanes. Nobody crossed each other. Bill did not tell his wife, you can't go to the Senate. You can't contest election. Allow her. The moment you try to stop the firstborn from rising up or doing her thing, there's going to be a clash. Allow the firstborn to follow her path. Don't stop them because they are very, very aggressively progressive. They want to get up. They want to achieve. They want to read degrees, certificates here and there. They want to get this one. Don't stop the person. If you stop the person, you're going to have a fight. Then we have the middle bonds. Middle bonds are compromisers. They are very good at compromise. They are very good at mediation. They can mediate over crisis and fighting. They are mediators. Many of them are good in law enforcement. They are good in things like law, lawyers, police. They sit down quietly. You're talking. They are listening to you and they are reading your mind. They don't make trouble too much. They try to avoid conflicts. They always want to follow the path of least resistance. And then most times they appear vulnerable. You would insult them, they will just keep quiet. They always say it is well, even when it's not well. They absorb lots of shock from people, and people can take them for granted. And most times you feel like, she can't shout, she can't bite. The day you push them to the wall and there's nowhere else to go, they would deal with you. I have told some person stories of a young girl who was one of our workers in church. The day the mother called me, what's the matter? She broke bottle to stab the mother. A worker in the church, a Christian, a sister. So I said, okay, I'm coming to the house. That day I told them, I'm coming. On that day, all of them should fast. I'm coming to the house for deliverance. And it was birth order deliverance. When I came, I sat all of them down from the father to the mother to the children. I began to explain to them why they act that way. And I told the mother, why this your girl broke bottle to stab you is because you as a firstborn mother, you are too aggressive on her. You criticize her, you keep blaming her, you remind her of what she's not doing fine. You tell her mates are here, she's here. Your mates are there, you're still here. Your mates are doing this, look at what you're doing. And she kept pushing the girl. It got to a point where there was nowhere else for the girl to return, or she had reached the wall, reached her elastic limit. Like Robert Hooke will say in physics, say when the elastic limit, say until the elastic limit is exceeded, the function remains constant. But when the elastic limit is exceeded, it can't return. So when her elastic limit had reached, she broke bottle to stab the mother. So do not provoke middle born beyond their limit, because you can't predict what they will do. And when they act, you'll be wondering, I never knew you could do something like this. How come? They are very silent, they are secretive. They can keep records. They remember all the things, all the lies you told them. As a matter of fact, even if you see a middle born boss, he will be in the office, you will come late, you will sign that you didn't come late, he will watch you, he will not talk. You'll be making noise, he will ask, what is that? You say nothing. You'll be doing things you think he's not seeing you. A typical firstborn boss will shout, will threaten you, I will give you query, I will do that. But typical middle born boss, he will keep quiet, he will be jotting down. On Friday, she came by this show, he will jot down. He will write, he will take note of everything you're doing and you think he's not seeing it. You will come, you will lie to him, he will just laugh. He will smile. One day he will sit you down and tell you everything, you'll be surprised. You will not get to know that he has been keeping record. That is how middle bonds are. So you do not take them for granted. And middle bonds have communication problem. They're not good at expressing themselves at the moment. Unlike a typical firstborn, you make him or her angry, she would speak out immediately. But the typical middleborn, you make them angry, they will keep quiet. They will tell you it's well. And so that is how they are. They are secretive. They are very diplomatic. A middleborn would hardly tell you yes or no. Am I going to see you tomorrow? She knows, he knows he's not going to come tomorrow. But he doesn't want to tell you no or yes, because he doesn't want to offend you. He now say, well, let me see what I would do. I would try my best. But he knows he will not. There may be some minutes to that time, he will not say something came up, but he knew long ago that he can't make it. But a typical firstborn would say, no, 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 I will not be available tomorrow. They will be very blunt about. So middle borns are very, very diplomatic with their words. They are very, very careful with their words. They are action oriented and hardly verbally oriented. Even in their emotions, they don't express their emotions verbally. They express it by their actions. A typical middle born will expect you to know what she's feeling like or what is on the mind, what is right in the mind, and expect you to act upon it. So you need to bring out words from them to make them talk. So most times when you have a middle born spouse or a middle born friend, you said, I think we should do this. I think we should do this. What do you think? You say, no, it's okay. Anyhow you want it is okay. They always allow you to take the lead. You must push them to talk, or else you would think that you are doing the right thing, but right within their mind, they know that you are wrong, and they don't want to tell you so you don't get angry. They will find a way to do that. They are very, very good in making friends. They don't have many friends, but the few they have, they keep them so warm.
One may ask, the middle born in a scenario where there are 5 children or word in the family,
Okay.
or another scenario is a family of 6 children, right? So we want to know between the second to the fourth, which of them is middle born and which ones do you classify as the last?
Okay. Now I love this particular area you're coming in because there are things we call birth order variables. Variables are things that can alter somebody's birth order and make him or her not to act like the characteristics of that birth order. Take for instance, you see a girl. I last week or two when I did a teaching on birth order, I showed them of a girl whom I saw, and I believe she should be a middle born or a firstborn from her behavior, from the way she manages things, the way she does things. I said this one must be a firstborn or at most middle born. But when I asked her, she told me she was a lastborn. Based on my knowledge of birth order, I said something must be wrong. What happened to you when you were born? Tell me. She now told me that she lost her parent at age 4. And birth order attributes are always formed between the age 1 to age 5. So she lost her parent at age 4 and she had to now live with her elder sister. And there she was like the first daughter there. So she now imbibed firstborn attributes. So you see her, she's a lastborn by birth, but by reality and attribute, she's not a lastborn. So there are people you see who could be firstborns in nature, but they are not behaving like one. I saw an engineer who went for one training. So, and this guy is an engineer, but he was making comedy and making people to laugh. And I was wondering, how can an engineer be doing comedy and making people to laugh this way? Then I said, okay, I know. Then I told my friends who were around that this guy must be a lastborn. If he's not a lastborn, then he should be a middle born whose parents are lastborns. And true to fact, when we came, then I called the guy. I said, now, how are you doing? Fine. What's your name? He told me, are you a firstborn or a lastborn? He said, no, he's the second son. I said, yeah. Your parents say the father and the mother are lastborn. I said, no wonder. So, birth order of parents can make a firstborn be like a lastborn or a middleborn. Now, talking about that, in a family where we have, let's say 5, the first is a boy, second is a boy, the third is a male. No, first is a boy, second a boy, the third is a girl, the fourth is a girl, and the last is a boy. So you now ask me, who is the firstborn? In this family tree now, we have 2 firstborns. The firstborn, the male, the boy who is the first, overall first, is the first, will have firstborn attributes. Then the girl, who in number is number 3, but the first of her sex, will have firstborn attributes also. While the boy who is second to the firstborn is a middleborn. Then the girl who is after the first girl is a middleborn. Then the boy who is the last is a lastborn. But there are times where the lastborn will not behave like a lastborn. Let me give you a clear instance. American President Donald Trump. There are 5 in their family. Donald Trump is the 4th in a family of 4. Now, Donald Trump has an elder brother, Jeff, and then he has 2 sisters before him. He's the 4th born. But Donald Trump is seen like an aggressive firstborn. For him to be an American president 2 times, for him to be to be highly successful in business. What happened? Now, Donald Trump, the father, wanted to hand over the business of the family and all of that to Jeff. But Jeff was a compliant and a complacent firstborn. You know, there are some firstborns who are just there. Somebody will look for their trouble. Instead of them to fight or talk, they will come and cry at home, you know, and all of that. You collect their thing, they will leave you, they will cry and come back. So the father said, "What? You are the first. Stand for what you believe." Now, this guy was complacent, and the father wanted an aggressive person to manage this kind of business. And Donald Trump is number 4. But there was an age gap between Jeffrey and Donald Trump was 8 years gap. And whenever we have from 5 years gap in between birth order of the same sex, a new family is born. So you can see that if you have a last born and the second to the last born give the last born 7 to 8 years gap, that last born you would think he will be like a last born. No, he will be he will be a little adult. Why? When he was born, his immediate elder was 7 years old. So he will not be playing like we are both 2-year, 3-year-old children, and you know, he will be seeing elderly siblings. So at that point, he now has 3 or 4 elderly mentors as siblings and parents. So he will be behaving more maturely than when he was born with an age gap of 2 and 3. Now, so Donald Trump now, with that age gap of 8 now, he now took up, and anytime in a birth order system, anytime the person ahead or the person in front, let's say the firstborn, gets it wrong, there will be a role reversal. Somebody else will pick up. That is why there are some people, some families you see, in that variable I'm talking about, and some families, maybe the firstborn had a mental challenge or a physical challenge. The secondborn, who is normal and better, takes over the firstborn role. So it happens that way. So that is why you find out that in a family, somebody could be last, but it's not actually behaving like a last born. I'll give you another instance in the Bible, because birth order is also in the Bible, and some people feel like, I mean, where did this theory come about? It came even in the Bible. Cain and Abel was a case of birth order. Esau and Jacob was a case of birth order, because parents oftentimes favor the child of their birth order. A firstborn mother will put her eye more on her firstborn daughter. She will have critical eye. A lastborn mother will be more affectionate with her lastborn child. That is the reason why Rebecca, being a lastborn, chose Jacob. And Isaac, being the firstborn, chose Esau. I know. So now, coming down to birth order, the family of Jacob. Jacob had 12 sons. And his elder sons, his older sons, were manipulative. Jacob was a manipulator. So he didn't like when he got a change of life and he prayed and God helped him. He hated anybody that reminds him of his past. So when Judah, Simeon, Levi will be doing all those things, that he hated them. That was why he fell in love with Joseph. And guess what? Joseph was last born to Jacob for up to 8 years. The age gap between Joseph, and Benjamin is up to 9 years. So that means Joseph was last born for up to 8 years. So he enjoyed last born of his father. Esau, Jacob was a last born. So Jacob favored his last born Joseph. By the time Benjamin was born, was 9 years gap. Now a new family had been formed. Benjamin was now acting like a more mature person. That was why at age 30, Benjamin already had 10 sons. He was already an established man at age 30, because he grew up being so mature, because he saw all his brothers were, at the time Benjamin was born, his brothers were already married. Some of them were already married. So he was not acting like a small boy, small picking, playing on the sun and all of that. He was acting. So birth order has a very big role to play in people's behaviors.
Okay, so for people who are already in marriage, who have these birth order complexities, people who were not privy to this knowledge prior to this time, what will be the solution to their own issues, or how can they figure out themselves?
Now, I was talking about someone that drives a car, who learned how to drive a car at old age. Now, that old age, you must follow all the rules. You allow somebody to teach you. You will go to the manual and follow all the procedures, and then somebody will guide you. You will keep improving until you get better. So when somebody is sick and they say it's severe, he goes to the hospital and the doctor say, "Oh, you have this particular sickness. If you want to survive and live longer, don't eat this one. Don't eat this one. Every morning, take this drug. Every 8 hours, take this one. In the night, do this one. Sleep for so and so hours. Don't eat too much salt. Take this one. Do exercise and all of that." And that person would kindly, sincerely do it because you want to survive, you want to live long. That's how it is in bed order. So when you come, when that is why counseling is very important. So when such people come, or when I see what's happening in your home, I say, "Come, let's talk." This is bed order. Now, this is who your, if you know who your spouse is, you will now know why he behaves this way. This woman is the firstborn. This is why she acts this way. This one is the lastborn. This is why he acts this way. Now, if you want to be happy, if you want to enjoy this marriage and correct what has happened, don't be saying this kind of a thing. Just like the doctor will tell you, don't eat this food at this time, don't do this one, do exercise, and all of that, and you adhere to it, you become intentional. So if you want to, live happily in your marriage, this man is a firstborn. Don't do this. Don't trigger him. Don't provoke him. These are the kind of things that can provoke somebody. This one, this one. This woman is the last born. Don't do this one. Don't do this one. Don't do this one. Oh, I have a case of a middle-born husband and a first-born wife. Okay? And they are fighting. Seriously fight every time. And I place them on a counseling session. And I told the man, I said, okay, one of the problems they have is that the woman wants to be in charge. Typical firstborn. And she's doing that innocently because that's how Beth Order explains things to her. You are a firstborn. Back at home, she was the firstborn. So she commands all the younger ones, do this, do that, and all of that, takes charge. Now she's married and it's difficult for her. So she feels like, and then the husband is a middleborn who doesn't talk too much. So she wants to command the man. And when the man realizes that he's the head of the family, you said no, then fight begins. And I told the man, one of the ways to remedy the situation is delegate responsibilities to her. Let her handle it and report to you. At that point, you've not taken away that authority figure from her. She now runs the affair. It's not like you make her a manager. You're the CEO. Make her a manager of a particular department, then reports to you. It solves that problem of authority. And then for the man, I tell the woman, no, 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 no. Don't take decision without consulting him. Take decision, but meet him, let him approve of it. Let his signature be there because the man wants to be sure he's still in charge. But you take the decision and let him approve of it. So all of these things go. Then I told one, last-born husband and a first-born wife. The first-born wife, she's bossy, authoritative. She has been at home with all her siblings. She's taking charge and everybody respects her. And then she knows how she treats her last-born. You make so much trouble. She scolds the last-born, talks to the last-born anyhow. Then now she's married to a last-born husband. I told her, be very careful. Don't treat him as the last-born. He's still your head. So for you who have had issues in your marriage, every issue in marriage boils down to bed order, except one or two, other clinical cases. Majority of the cases are all bed order related. So bed order effect. So what we do, I told one lady some 2 weeks back when I was having this seminar. She said that, look at me, I come back home, I don't do this one. I said, no, you must be intentional. Intentional. Just like now, your husband said, I want to eat a particular food. Every evening, give me this particular thing to eat. You must be intentional to make sure it happens. And any day you're not able to do that, don't make it look like you can do without it. Apologize. Say, please, I will make it up for you tomorrow. He will calm down. So you must be intentional to say, okay, these are the kind of things I should not say or do. And this is the best way to handle him. So you now learn. If somebody could go to school and learn how to read a particular course, or somebody can travel abroad and learn a foreign language and pass, or somebody can pick up a car and learn how to drive the car and can travel a far distance, then an intentional person can actually manage the bed order of his partner or her partner and himself and avoid conflicts.
So you're trying to say that first, the bet order doesn't actually stop us from marrying any of the others, but understanding how those others function and then how to manage them, right?
Yes.
So it's not like if I'm a firstborn, I can't marry a firstborn.
Oh, no. You're a firstborn, you can marry anybody. But if you understand exactly who you're marrying, this person, who are you? Oh, you're a firstborn. I'm a firstborn. Okay. For this marriage to work, I would not cross your path. I will allow you to be your firstborn. Allow you to be your firstborn. But we must understand something. When it comes to marriage, we have three types of marriages because marriage and birth order, they go together. We have three types of marriages. We have the cultural marriage, we have the contemporary marriage, we have the kingdom marriage. Cultural marriage gives men authority to boss over women, and what the man says holds. Now, if you use that cultural marriage to come into birth order, where you have a firstborn wife also, there's going to be crisis because she will not allow you to boss over her anyhow. You must learn how to strike a balance, allow her to have a way, while you take charge. Then the second kind of marriage is contemporary marriage, where the women feel like they are independent. What a man can do, we also can do. I don't need a man to be happy. I can survive on my own. And then they bring up this issue of feminism, where the woman feels like she can become a man and all of that. And Bible was trying to work on this thing in 1 Corinthians 12. Then in that particular marriage, contemporary marriage favors the woman, while cultural marriage favors the men. But the right marriage is kingdom marriage, where Bible says that men and women come together. The man needs the woman needs the man. So in that kind of marriage, whether you're both firstborns or middleborns or lastborns, you now know how can I help this person. So anybody can marry anybody if only you understand who this person is and who this person is. So you can manage anybody. But if you don't understand who your spouse is, and you marry your spouse, and you want your spouse to, you treat your spouse the way you are, there's going to be crisis. That is why opposite attracts. So when we have similar birth order cases, we need to understand the person's birth order parameters and not just understanding that, oh, he's a firstborn, he must be like this. Find out if there were variables that altered his birth order. A firstborn in a mixed family will not be the same firstborn in a straight family. A firstborn, a firstborn, like now, take for instance, in a family where they had a house help or an adopted child that lived with them from childhood, okay? And then the child has grown up, then they now have their own firstborn child. That their firstborn child will hardly behave like a firstborn in real life because the pressure of firstborn has been poured on that adopted child. This their own child now will not be behaving like a middle born. So all of these things come into play. So if you want to enjoy somebody or a relationship, go beyond just saying, oh, she's the first, oh, she's the last. Look at the variables and be sure you understand the person's parameters and how the person behaves. Then you can enjoy that relationship.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. It's been nice having this thought-provoking conversation with you. I think in the next episode, we're going to be talking about how this birth order affects the upbringing of children and how we can use the knowledge of birth order to effectively raise up sound children. And before then, I think we're going to be having a conversation on pertinent issues which you have also witnessed in the field that has formed certain negative character traits which has made a lot of children to behave in awful manners. You were sharing a story with me about a child who was molesting another child in school. We want to look at the root cause of certain character traits we see in people as they grow up. Thank you so much. It's been nice having this conversation with you one more time. And a big thank you to our audience joining us on this episode of Heart to Heart here on the Realities of Life podcast. We trust that you got value for the time you spent here. We hope to see you in the next episode. And just in case you would want to, know more about birth order, Counselor Lemi here has written a book which covers in-depth birth order, the complexities of birth order and how to navigate through birth order and the conflict that comes with birth order. To get access to that book, please use the link in the description. It's going to redirect you to where you will get the book. Till next time, I remain your host. For praise. God bless you.